book. What if I told you that the moment you announce your biggest dream out loud, you've already killed it? Sounds crazy, right? But there's a psychological trap we all fall into, and it's destroying our chances of success before we even begin. Let me tell you a story that'll change how you think about your goals forever. The main content. There was this guy named Daniel who lived in a quiet town where everyone knew everyone. Daniel was that person, you know the type, always buzzing with ideas, always planning the next big thing. One month he'd be talking about starting a bakery. The next, he was convinced he'd become a photographer. Then suddenly, he wanted to write a book. But here's the thing about Daniel. He had this ritual. Before he'd even taken a single step toward making anything happen, he'd gather an audience. He'd stand in the coffee shop, lean against the counter, and announce to anyone who'd listen, "I'm opening a bakery. It's going to be the best in town. Just wait and see." And people? They loved it. They'd pat him on the back. They'd say things like, "That's amazing, Daniel. You're going to crush it." He'd walk home feeling like he'd already won. His chest would swell with pride. That night, he'd fall asleep smiling, replaying all those encouraging words in his mind. But when morning came, when it was actually time to research recipes, find a location, or save money, he felt empty. Drained. Like someone had unplugged his battery overnight. Days would slip by. Then weeks. The bakery never happened. Then came the photography phase. Same pattern. He called a meeting at the town square. Spoke passionately about capturing moments, about art, about building a portfolio. People cheered. They told him he had vision. Daniel felt incredible. But his camera? It stayed in the box. Untouched. Gathering dust. This went on for years. Daniel became known as the guy with big dreams and zero results. Deep down, he was drowning in shame. He'd lie awake at night wondering what was wrong with him. Why couldn't he finish anything? Why did every dream evaporate the moment he tried to chase it? One night, feeling particularly defeated, Daniel sat by himself near an old oak tree at the edge of town. That's when Mr. Thompson appeared, a quiet, older man who'd lived in that town forever. Everyone respected him, but he wasn't the type to draw attention. He just did things. Quietly. Effectively. Mr. Thompson sat down beside Daniel without saying a word at first. Then, gently, "You look like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, son." Daniel let out a long breath. "I don't get it. I have all these ideas, all these plans. But nothing ever works out. I start strong, then just fade." "Tell me something," Mr. Thompson said. "When you get one of these ideas, what's the first thing you do?" "I share it," Daniel answered without hesitation. "I tell people. I want them to be excited with me. I want them to believe in me." Mr. Thompson nodded slowly, like he'd heard this story 1,000 times before. "Come by my place tomorrow morning. There's something I need to show you." The next day, Daniel showed up at Mr. Thompson's small garden behind his house. The old man was holding 2 identical seeds in his weathered hands. He gave one to Daniel. "Plant this in the soil," he said simply. Daniel knelt down, dug a small hole with his fingers, and placed the seed inside. He covered it gently with earth. Then Mr. Thompson took the second seed and did something strange. He held it up high, called over some neighborhood kids who were playing nearby, and announced loudly, "Look at this, everyone. I've got a seed here. It's going to grow into something magnificent. Watch how beautiful it becomes." The kids clapped. They seemed impressed. Then Mr. Thompson placed that second seed on a flat rock in the middle of the garden and walked away. Over the next few weeks, something fascinating happened. Mr. Thompson watered the buried seed every day. He didn't talk about it. Didn't point it out. Just quietly tended to it. Daniel visited often, watching. Slowly, so slowly you could barely notice, a tiny green shoot pushed through the soil. Then a stem. Then small leaves. Meanwhile, the seed on the rock. It just sat there. The sun baked it. Birds pecked at it. Rain washed pieces of it away. It never grew. It never had a chance. After about a month, there was a small but healthy plant standing in the soil. The other seed had completely disappeared. Mr. Thompson stood beside Daniel, looking at the plant. You see this? A seed needs silence to grow. It needs darkness. It needs to be hidden beneath the surface where the real work happens. When you leave it exposed, when you shine a spotlight on it too early, it dies. Every time. Daniel stared at that little plant, and something clicked inside his brain. When you announce your dreams before you've done the work, Mr. Thompson continued, something strange happens in your mind. You get this hit of satisfaction, almost like you've already accomplished the thing. People's praise feels so good that your brain starts to believe the job is done. You've already received the reward, so why keep working? Daniel felt his face flush. That's exactly what he'd been doing. Every announcement gave him a rush. Every compliment made him feel successful. He'd been getting the emotional payoff without putting in any actual effort. The applause was the finish line, not the starting gun. Dreams are fragile when they're young, Mr. Thompson said quietly. They need protection. Keep them close. Let them grow in the dark, fertile soil of your effort. When the tree is strong and tall, everyone will see it. You won't need to tell them a thing. Daniel walked home that evening with his mind racing. That night, he made a decision. He was going to try something, just one thing, but this time, he wouldn't tell a soul. He decided to build a bookshelf. Simple. Practical. Achievable. He didn't announce it. Didn't post about it. Didn't even mention it to his closest friends. He just started. Every evening after work, he'd go to his garage and work with wood and tools. Some nights he felt motivated. Other nights he wanted to quit. But because nobody knew, nobody asked questions. Nobody had expectations. There was no pressure, just him and the wood. Weeks passed. Mistakes were made. He fixed them. He learned. The bookshelf slowly took shape. And when it was finally done, when Daniel stood back and looked at this solid, beautiful thing he'd built with his own hands, he felt something completely new. Real pride. Not the hollow, fleeting pride that comes from words and applause. The deep, unshakable pride that comes from doing. One afternoon, a neighbor spotted the bookshelf through Daniel's window. "Whoa, when did you make that? It's incredible." Daniel just smiled. "Been working on it for a while." The neighbor looked genuinely shocked. "You never mentioned it." "I wanted to finish it first." Word spread slowly through town. People were impressed, but by then, Daniel had already started building a desk. Then a bench. Then a cabinet. He never announced any of it. He just worked. In silence. In focus. Years later, Daniel became known as the craftsman of the town. But not because he talked about it. Because his work spoke for itself. People respected him more than ever, not for his words, but for his hands. For what he actually created. The strong closing. Here's the truth, every time you announce a goal before you've started, you're giving away your power. You're letting other people's reactions replace your own effort. The applause feels so good that your brain mistakes it for achievement. Keep your dreams close. Protect them like that buried seed. Let your actions speak when the time is right. The world doesn't need to know what you're building. It only needs to see what you've built. So next time you feel that urge to shout your plans from the rooftops, stop. Stay quiet. Plant the seed in darkness. Water it with effort, not words. When the tree is strong and tall, everyone will see it, and you won't have to say a single thing. If this story hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more stories that shift how you see life. Thanks for being here.